Hello, parents. Welcome to the inaugural virtual open house for AP Environmental for the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Dan Reynolds, and I am the teacher of the course, which takes place 1 and 2A, 2B, 3, or 8B and 9 each day. So your son or daughter is in one of those class periods, which meets 65 minutes each day. Some things about me. This is my 14th year teaching here at the high school and my 9th year overall teaching AP Environmental Science. I began the course here in 2012. That was the first year that we offered it because of the growing need and desire of the students to have a more challenging course dealing with the environment and the growing need for kids that were going out into the field and taking on jobs that were dealing with problems in the environment and kids seeing the destruction and various other things that are taking place throughout the world with regards to air pollution, water pollution, and the whatnot. So the course has grown since then, and I've added lots of things to it, so it evolves yearly. So it's turned into a really cool course, and I think your son or daughter will enjoy it. Something about me is I have a BS in biology and chemistry, and my concentration was in microbiology through John Carroll. And I have a master's of education in science through the Ohio State University, which is also where I met my wife years ago. Before becoming a teacher, I worked as a lead senior microbiologist for a pharmaceutical company for 3 years, and also had a job with a health and hygiene company for 1.5 years as their microbiologist. And going through these jobs and really enjoying them at the time, but then growing decreasingly happy with what they were providing for me overall, I decided to look into a new career, and the career I looked into was teaching. I figured I could teach science. So it's something that making that career change years ago is something it's very interesting now in today's times, but it's something that I enjoy working with the kids and teaching them and watching them grow. So it was a good change that I went through years ago. My wife, Allison, she also teaches here at the high school. She's a calculus teacher. Her and I, with our 2 kids, Zoe and Layla, we live in Brecksville, and one's in 4th grade, Zoe, and Layla is in 1st grade, and they attend Highland. The texts and supplements that we use, they're going to receive a textbook, a hardbound textbook. They'll also have online access to that same textbook through their Cengage Now app. They'll also get 2 ancillary books, the ASAP Environmental Science, as well as the Crash Course book, which will help prepare them for the AP test that comes mid-May this year. Some kids, they like to have the hardbound book, so they'll have that. It's easier to read for many of them, but they'll also have online access. So whichever one works out best for them is fine with me. Online tools. The Google Classroom site is what I've been using for years now, so it's nothing new, nothing that's been added. The kids know how to use Google Classroom and check for work and submit their work daily, so it's pretty easy to manage. You as parents are able to access the site as guardians, but you can't obviously post anything. You can't post assignments, any comments, chat, anything like that, but you can be on the site as a guardian to see what it looks like, assignments that are up there, and various other things. My website that's linked on the portal page, which is also linked here in the slide, that's where you can go to see what we have done each day in class, because I update that generally every day at the end of the day, so that if someone was absent, they can go to that site and check to see what they had missed, when a test is coming up, whatever's happening with the class for that day. The other online tool that they'll use is AP Classroom, as well as the Cengage Now platform that I mentioned earlier. AP Classroom goes through College Board, and it was something that was started last year with them, and it contains upwards of 1,000 different multiple choice free response questions that are comparable to what they would see or expect to see on the AP test in May. Cengage Now, that's where they access, as I said, the online book, and they have test questions in there. They have, it's called an Applia that's in there where they'll do basically a learning activity, or they'll do a simulation that corresponds to what they're covering in that particular chapter. Kids that take this course, our average every year that I've taught this has been in the around the 3.8 to 4.1 range, which is pretty darn good compared to what the Ohio average is, as well as the national average that's generally in the mid to upper twos for AP Environmental. So the kids, it's a rigorous class, but it prepares them well for college. It prepares them well to do, hopefully well on the AP test at the end of the year. But as with any course, it depends how much of the time they put into it outside of class as well, with the readings and with the labs and the activities that I have them do in order to prepare for that test at the end of the year. When you look at our course of study, obviously we cover the environment, we cover air pollution, water pollution, we cover human population growth, many, many different things we go over throughout the year. If you go to my website and you look under the course expectations link that's there, I list out all the various topics that we cover. The chapters are there, the key points and key ideas that are listed by College Board that the kids should know by the end of the course. Also various laws that they need to know in preparation for that test. This year being different than any other, we're going to see how things go after the first week, first 2 weeks or so, and see what's working for the kids, what's not working for them. I want this to be as flexible as possible because it's going to be a learning experience for not only them, but myself as well. So as I told the kids in an email that I just sent out to them with their Google Classroom stuff and information, I want them to be okay and understand, like some of them are going to put a lot of stress and pressure on themselves to do well this year. It's going to be different where I told them it's going to be okay to make mistakes. We're going to work through this together. That I'm going to make mistakes, that they'll make mistakes. Technology isn't going to function at times, so there's lots of room for error. So please tell them to understand that. So as we get into the swing of things here at the beginning, they're still going to be learning. We're still going to do activities, but be sure that they tell me or someone reaches out to me if certain things aren't working, things aren't functioning, and things like that. This year, unlike other years, as I said before, we typically go on field trips in this class because it's super, super important. Usually the majority of our field trips, except for one, take place towards the end of the year, so April and beyond. We have gone on a field trip that took place in October to the West Creek Metro Parks, but since field trips are obviously halted right now, that field trip will either not take place this year or it'll be moved to sometime, hopefully later on in the year, and hopefully things will clear up by that point where we're able to get out and do more things. We also take a field trip to the wastewater treatment plant and the purification plant, which is not one of the highlights of the kids for the year because they're going to the wastewater plant, but it's an extremely good learning experience for them. It's good to see how things function. Plus, it's a topic that's covered on their AP exam at the end of the year. So they get to see where the water comes in from the lake, or how it's purified before coming out to the houses, and then where it goes and how it's purified or cleaned before it goes back out into the Cuyahoga River. Also, every year except for last year, because of school shutting down, we take a camping trip to Mohican State Park, which is about an hour and a half away. The Mohican trip, it's a tent camping trip where the kids go out, we spend the night there on a campground, and there's bathroom facilities, there's shower houses, there's all facilities there that they would need. So they camp together, obviously by gender, in their tents. They bring sleeping bags and all of that. The first day that we get down there, we take a kayak trip, and the kids usually are given the opportunity to do a 7-mile kayak trip or a 15-mile kayak trip. So whatever they feel most comfortable with, that's what they will do. We also go on roughly a 5-mile hike on that day in the evening. And then the kids have time to, they cook their own food over the fire, or they bring food, whatever suits them, or whatever they desire to do. And then the next morning we go out to a zip line place. It's called Tree Frog. It's about 15 minutes away, and they go on through a zip line course before we break down camp and tents and all of that and come back home. So that's a really, really cool trip, and it's an exciting trip that they really, really enjoy. So hopefully, like I said, if everything hopefully gets better, like we're all hoping for that, then that'll be something that we'll be able to do, get back on again this year. But that doesn't happen until May. So we have plenty of time there to see if things improve. Also, the year before last, we couldn't go last year because of everything, but I also give them the opportunity, which is optional, that at the end of the year, sometimes it may fall after graduation for the seniors. Sometimes it falls before graduation. It all depends on planning with the trip company. But I took kids out to the Grand Canyon. We also saw Hoover Dam. They saw Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon National Park. And it's basically it's a 5-day trip where you fly into Las Vegas, and then you go by bus, not school bus, but a nice charter bus, and they take you from place to place, and you stay in hotels along the way. And everything is the trip. It's a set fee, and it includes your flight, it includes transportation, it includes food, it includes entry into all of the national parks. So it's an awesome trip. The kids that went 2 years ago really, really enjoyed it. And it's something that is optional, and I don't have a price on it this year. I'm not going to have a price until later because it's partially dependent upon how many kids want to go. But the kids love the trip that year. They get to see lots and lots of things in the national parks and go on some cool hikes and all of that. So if it's something they're interested in, that's something hopefully that we'll also be able to do at the end of this year to get them experiencing nature and get them out west to see a lot of the sights that they can't see here. Grades and things like that, please check grade book or progress book frequently to keep an eye on how they're doing. Generally speaking, in AP classes, kids usually they're self-motivators, but it's not always the case. So stay on them, see how they're doing with everything. Extra help, if they ever need extra help, tell them to come and see me. I'm a pretty approachable person. I like to work with the kids. I like to have fun with them and do things that are enjoyable in class. So I love to have their feedback too. If there's things they like, things they don't like, I always tell them to be honest with me, and I do the same with them. So if they ever need extra help, just tell them to come and see me or send me an email. And if you guys ever have questions, my phone number is on the website, but send me an email. We don't check, our phones don't ring here in the classroom. So it's unknown when I would get back to you, but emails, I check email all throughout the day. So if it's something, definitely email me. If someone, especially this year, if your son or daughter gets sick or someone in your family's sick or whatever, notify me, let me know, just so I know if their work production is going down or they haven't handed in assignments or things like that. So I know in advance what to expect. So that makes things easier on me. As always, like I said, if you have questions throughout the year, feel free to email me. I wish all of this we could do in person, but maybe sometime towards the end of the year, or like I said, when everything hopefully clears up, we'll get to meet and go through all of that. So thank you, and that is all.